Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I've been a nurse for almost 2 years now, and I've been in a hospital setup for almost 6 years. As a result, I've dealt with so many patients, and some have been really prepared for their admission and some have been not. So in this video, I'll be discussing the things that you absolutely have to bring as a patient, and also be explaining why, so that whenever you're admitted, whether it is planned or unplanned, you will be prepared for whatever has to come your way. So to begin with, let us first discuss the different routes that can cause you to end up in a hospital setup. The most popular one is something happens while you're at home, going out, you have a heart attack, a panic attack, you cut your arm. An unfortunate event occurs when you're out about doing your day, then you're brought there by your family or you're brought by an ambulance and you end up in the emergency room, then you end up in a ward, etc. Those are things that are unplanned. The second one is a planned surgery or a planned procedure, where you've discussed with your doctor, they've found something that needs to be removed, something that needs to be inserted, etc. You plan a date, you come on the day, you have procedure. Usually in those circumstances, you know how long you're going to be in the hospital, whether you're going to ICU or not, and you're better prepared for the things that you have to bring in because you know how many days you're going to be in the hospital. And the last option is you've gone to see your doctor for your follow-up, you're just doing a general check-in and your doctor is not happy about something that they found during that intervention, and as a result they tell you that you need to be admitted for further investigations and that sort of thing. The first category is documentation. Obviously, when you're being admitted, us as your healthcare workers, we need to know what is wrong with you, what has brought you to the hospital, and any other relevant information that is related to you. So firstly, you need a form of identification, whether it is your ID, your passport, or your driver's license, because the hospital needs to open a file for you, or they need to search you for your file on the database if you've already been admitted in that hospital before. If you've got medical aid, that is something also that you need to bring. You need a list of your current medication, the dosages, and the frequencies. We need to know what medication you're on, how often you're taking it, and that sort of thing. For example, if you're going to be going to have a procedure, you're going to go to theater, we need to know if you're on your blood thinners, because if you're on blood thinners, that's going to make the procedure or the theater procedure more complicated because you're more likely to bleed. We need to know if there's going to be any drug-to-drug interactions, because your chronic medication might interact with something else that your doctor is going to prescribe for you. So if it is chronic medication, something that's been prescribed by a doctor, or any other herbal stuff that you're taking, it's important that you have a list, the dosage and the frequency that you're taking those medications. If you can have the physical medication with you, that would be even much better. But at our hospital, the policy is it needs to be in its original container. So I know a lot of people have pill boxes because it makes it easier for them to take it when they're at home. However, us as the nurses, which is mostly the people that will be giving you this medication, we cannot take responsibility for that, because as much as you're going to tell us what is in the container, we cannot take responsibility because you might have forgotten or you mix up the colors and that sort of thing. So if you can have the original containers, it makes it easier for us to know what exactly we're giving you, the dosage and that sort of thing. Other thing is if you can have medical history. So medical history includes any surgeries that you have, any current or old chronic conditions that you might have, or any other interventions that have happened to you, whether it was a tooth that was removed, whether it was an implant that was put in, any contraceptives that you might be on, if you've had a surgery, even if it's the last 10 years, if you can have a running list of those things, that would make life so much easier, and also a list of your allergies. Because the thing is, as time goes by, we forget the things that have been done to us, or we forget the exact details of what happened. If you had any reactions during that procedure that you had, like if you had a reaction to the anesthetic before, if you have any reaction to latex, that sort of thing, those are things that you find out the more you go into the hospital, or even something that you went to your GP about and they discuss that sort of thing. We need to have a running list of all those things that have happened to you. because it's much easier for us to treat you if we know all the things that have happened to you before. But especially for the older folk, they have a lot of chronic conditions, they have a lot of procedures that have happened, medical conditions and that sort of thing. So you can either have a file or just a detailed paper. I actually had a patient where she had a whole list of everything that has happened to her, what procedure she had, where, which doctor, if she had any reactions to the anesthetic. It literally was just one A4 page, but from that I could get everything that I needed to know about the patient, because what you tell us will inform how we're going to treat you as a patient. So if we know, we'll be able to be better prepared than if we don't know and we are realizing things at the same time as you. Then it's a whole surprise, and especially if it's a very dangerous discovery that we're making, especially a big allergy, it just makes life difficult. So the more you tell us, the more we'll be able to accommodate you in the things that we're going to be doing in our health, in us rendering healthcare to you. Another thing regarding documentation is if you have any recent tests that have been done, if you've gone to your GP and they've drawn bloods for you and you have those results, if you've had any x-rays done, if you can have copies of that, because you can actually ask your GP to have copies of all the tests that they have done for you. If you can have a written copy, or if you can even have a digital copy, that would be great, because one, it will save you money, because if you had a scan in the previous, let's say 30 days, and they need to do another test that's similar to that, and the last 30 days don't affect anything, one, it saves you money and your medical aid, because you don't have to have that test again. In most cases, if you're having like CT scans, MRIs and that sort of thing, within the last 90 days, nothing major changes. So in most cases, your doctor will be able to use those scans. But obviously, if you have broken something and that sort of thing, we need the latest scans. But if it's like a follow-up type of thing, or there's an exacerbation of your condition, if you have previous scans, it saves you time and money. And the last thing is, if you can have updated contacts of your emergency contacts, your address and your own cell phone numbers. You have no idea how many times I've tried to contact family members, and you call them using the numbers that is on the file, and then you are taken to some random person in a whole different country sometimes, because some people have remarried, they've gotten married, they've gotten divorced and that sort of thing, and their emergency contacts change, surnames and that sort of thing. So it's important to have the right record. So that's everything to do with documentation. As you can see, documentation is very important, because it really helps us to cut out a lot of time of trying to do a background check on you. If you have your background check with you already, we can move on to the next steps without having to dig further about you and your medical history. So before I move to the comfort and entertainment part of the things that you need to bring, please remember that you are coming to a hospital. Things that you bring must not make life difficult for everyone else around you. I've seen lots of patients bring so many bags or so many precious things in the hospital, then they go missing, or it just creates a lot of clutter around for everyone else and that sort of thing. It just makes everyone else uncomfortable, or you lose your favorite things. So please make sure that you're only bringing the things that are necessary. Okay, so when it comes to comfort, the main thing is everyone needs to have their cell phone. It's the easiest and the fastest way for you to be entertained, because on your cell phone, you can listen to music, you can read, you can watch movies and that sort of thing. It literally is a carry-all for everything, instead of you bringing other items. So please make sure you do have your cell phone if you do own one. Earphones, please, and have your chargers and your 2-point plugs, because we don't always have chargers for you, and in most cases we can't charge for you because we can't take responsibility if anything happens to your cell phone while it's in our possession. So please make sure that you're bringing those things with you. Some patients even take it an extra mile and they'll bring those long adapters where you can attach many different things, because some patients will bring their laptops, their e-readers, their iPads and that sort of thing. Please don't be that person, as much as it's convenient for you. And I do know that some people need to work while they're also admitted. However, it is a safety issue, especially for your things, because if you get moved from one ward to another, you go to ICU and that sort of thing. Yes, we try our best to have things locked up, to keep a track record of what exactly you brought in. But in some unfortunate cases, things do go missing. As a result, save us the headache, save yourself the headache of having anything go missing. So if you can have one electronic, maximum 2 electronics that you bring with you, then that would make life so much easier for everyone. The other comfort things that you can bring is obviously if you've got your own pillowcases or your own blanket that you want to bring, because I know sometimes patients will say that the hospital blankets are not warm enough. So you're more than welcome to bring your own fleece blankets, but please don't bring a whole bedspread with your sheets, your blankets. Yeah, people have just brought a lot of things that are necessary. The hospital will provide you with sheets, blankets, pillowcases, pillows for you, and they will change it for you every single day if you wish. But yes, you can bring your own pillows if that is going to bring comfort to you. Then the most important thing for comfort that you need to bring in a hospital setup is you need earplugs and you need eye masks. And the reason for this is, one, hospitals are loud. I know we have the slogan in most hospitals that silent hospitals helps healing. We always aim for that. However, if in the middle of the night a patient starts coding, or a patient's condition starts deteriorating, or just something unexpected happens, there's going to be a lot of running around. There's going to be a lot of in and out in the rooms during the night, because we need to check on you, we need to give you medication in the middle of the night and that sort of thing. It does get loud, and it's even worse during the day because you've got doctors, physiotherapists, dietitians, family members going in and out, and you might not always get the proper rest that you need during the day and during the night. So if you have the earplugs and the eye mask with you, it makes it easier for you to zone out the world when you need to. So now when it comes to clothing, in most cases, most patients will be in the hospital gown, but I do understand that most patients don't like the gowns because yes, they do open at the back. It makes them feel exposed and that sort of thing. So you can actually request for a second gown to cover the back and cover the front. The other option is just to have the hospital gown on, and then you can bring your own gown from home just to cover the back when you're walking around with a physio, going to the bathroom and that sort of thing. The reason why I think most nurses don't like it when patients wear their own pajamas, because it's much easier for them to abscond because you're in your own home clothing, and some patients pajamas are home clothes, you know, like your sweatpants and that sort of thing. It makes it easier for them to just walk out without anyone recognizing that they are a patient. So it makes it easier for us, or it's for an honest safety point of view, it's easier if they're wearing the hospital gown. However, you are allowed to bring your own pajamas to change, especially if you've had a baby or you had a really long procedure and you want to come out of the hospital pajamas, either because they are soiled, they are wet, they've got blood stains and that sort of thing. And some patients, it brings them comfort when they're wearing their own pajamas and that sort of thing. However, I do have to put the caveat that the pajama needs to be easily accessible for us. For example, if you're going to be putting ECG leads, we need to have something that can easily come off, or something that you can unbutton to make it easy for us to have access, especially if you've got wounds, if you've got like wounds on the neck area, or you've got a CVP line, or you've got an abdominal wound, or you've got a urinary catheter in situ. Your pajamas should not get in the way of us being able to give medical intervention. So your pajamas needs to also be easily accessible for us, especially if you've got a drip in your arms and that sort of thing.
And I was googling a picture of different nursing gowns that are there, and I saw this one that apparently exists in New York, where you can actually, most patients don't like, how do you point with this thing? Nonsense. Anyway, where most patients like to tie it in the front neck, but we can still have access at the back, especially if you go to theater. But the thing that fascinated me the most is this thing. Like, you have no idea how annoying it is when patients have their gowns and you're trying to pull it up, especially if they put a jersey on top and that sort of thing. But if we can easily access the IV lines through this thing, like, why is this not like a gown that everyone has? Like, how cool is this? Like, come on, whoever designed this thing, please bring it to Africa. Like, make it like a general thing that all hospitals have. Like, come on, it's so cool.
You're also going to need slippers for the bathrooms. The same rule that we use in public gyms is the same rule you need to use in a hospital setup. The floors are nasty, so please have shoes that you can walk around with, whether it's your morning slippers or just normal slippers that you use in the showers, just to have shoes that you can use to walk around with. Then the other clothes is obviously the pair of clothing that you're going to use when you go out of the hospital. Some patients like to have an outfit that they go out with. Others, they really don't care. Their pajamas and their gown, they're sorted and they're going home. But yeah, that is the only clothes that I really do think you should have. I've seen patients that want to change clothes every single day. It's not necessary, it's unnecessary. Then the last thing is obviously toiletries. Most hospitals will obviously provide you with towel, the big towel that you can use to dry yourself, the hospital gown. Some hospitals will provide you with some soap, toothpaste, and toothbrushes if they have, but in most cases they don't. So you need to have your own soap. You can have your own big towel to dry yourself. You need your own face towel, toothpaste, toothbrush, something to brush your hair with, and lotion. Those are the basic things that you need. I've seen people wanting to bring shampoos, conditioners, makeup. Guys, it just creates unnecessary clutter for you. And the last thing that I would like to discuss is things not to bring. Jewelry. Please leave your jewelry at home. I know in some cases patients admitted from an event end up in the hospital and they still have their jewelry and stuff with them. If possible, have your family come fetch it as soon as they come visit you. Trust me, rings, necklaces, earrings, those type of things get missing, especially valuable things like your wedding bands and that sort of thing. The hospital is a big place and sometimes patients get moved around between different wards and that sort of thing, and we cannot always keep track of everything that you come with. So if you have anything valuable, especially jewelry, electronics, expensive shoes, expensive clothes, that sort of thing, please have it sent home. Just keep it at home. It's safe at home than in a hospital setup. So please, those things keep at home. Also, when it comes to money, if you can keep a maximum of 300 rand with you, that's enough. That should be money for you to go downstairs by the cafeteria, have yourself a cup of coffee, or you want a little snack here and then send all the other money home. I've seen patients walk in with 5,000 rand. I'm like, what are you doing with it in a hospital setup? I know most admissions are unplanned, but if you don't need it, send it home, please. Also, with your documentation, extra documentation that you don't need, extra passports, bank cards, that sort of thing, other stuff, send it home. Just keep the things that are absolutely necessary for you. So this is the end of the video. I hope you guys learned something about the things that you need to bring in the hospital and also the things that you do not need to bring in a hospital setup. You can go down in the description box. I've listed down everything that you need regarding what to pack when you're going in a hospital setup down in the description box. So if you just need to keep a copy for yourself, or there's a procedure that you're going into the hospital for and you're just not sure what to pack, you can definitely go down in the description box and get that list for you. So until next week, when I'm going to be discussing the things that you should definitely not do when you come to your hospital. So I'll see you in that video. So until next week, Friday at 12 p.m. South African time, have an awesome one. Bye guys.